Before Canelo ruled the ring, before Inoue stunned the world, there was a silent assassin from Mexico who turned counterpunching into a violent art form. Juan Manuel Marquez didn't roar like a lion. He struck like a cobra, fast, deadly, precise. In a career that spanned 2 decades, Marquez carved through 4 weight classes, knocking out champions, legends, and prospects alike with chilling efficiency. From one-round destructions to late-round executions, this is the knockout reel of a boxing genius. Get ready to relive 30 fights that turned timing into terror, because when Marquez threw, it wasn't just a punch, it was a trap sprung. Marquez KOs Manny Pacquiao, 6th round knockout. This was the crescendo of a legendary rivalry. After 3 controversial fights, with Pacquiao winning 2 and 1 ending in a draw, Marquez came into the 4th with 1 goal: closure. The fight was electric. Marquez dropped Pacquiao in the 3rd with a thunderous right. Pacquiao returned the favor in the 5th, bloodying Marquez and taking control. Then came round 6. With just seconds left, Pacquiao lunged in, and Marquez launched a perfectly timed overhand right that froze time. Pacquiao hit the canvas face first, out cold, no count, no questions, just silence, then bedlam. Marquez finally had his justice, and it came by one of the most iconic knockouts in boxing history. Marquez KOs Likar Ramos Concha, 1st round knockout. This was a tune-up on paper, but for Likar Ramos, it turned into a 1-round nightmare. Looking to stay sharp ahead of his 4th clash with Pacquiao, Marquez faced the Colombian southpaw and wasted 0 time. Within the opening minute, Marquez closed the distance, read the rhythm, and launched a textbook right hand that detonated on Ramos's chin. He went down stiff, unconscious before he hit the canvas. It was vintage Marquez. No wasted motion, no second chances. This was a 90-second message to the world. He was ready for Pacquiao 4. Marquez TKOs Michael Katsidis, 9th round knockout. Katsidis came in with a warrior's reputation and a chin made of granite. He lived up to it, dropping Marquez in round 3 with a thunderous left hook. But that's where the fairy tale ended. Marquez rose, adjusted, and began putting on a counterpunching clinic. His combinations were razor sharp, his movement flawless, and his will unshaken. By round 9, Katsidis had absorbed a career's worth of punishment. Marquez cornered him, unleashed a precise barrage, and forced the ref to intervene. It was a battle of heart versus technique. And once again, technique won by knockout. Marquez TKOs Juan Díaz, 9th round knockout. In a Fight of the Year war, Marquez faced the younger, faster, pressure-heavy Juan Baby Bull Díaz. The opening rounds were a maelstrom. Díaz overwhelmed Marquez with flurries and body shots, but Marquez, ever the master of the storm, weathered it with composure and began to land uppercuts that sliced through Díaz's guard. By round 5, the tide turned. Then, in the 9th, Marquez detonated a massive right uppercut that sent Díaz reeling. A second knockdown sealed the deal. It was a breathtaking finish to a violent chess match, and one of Marquez's finest hours in a career filled with masterpieces. Marquez KOs Casamayor, 11th round knockout. This one was all about respect and legacy. Joel Casamayor, the reigning Ring Magazine and lineal lightweight champ, was slick, tricky, and known for making great fighters look average. But Marquez, he wasn't just great, he was relentless. The early rounds were tactical, each man probing, calculating. But as the fight wore on, Marquez dialed in, cracking Casamayor with counter rights and uppercuts. Then came round 11. A sharp right hand dropped Casamayor. He rose, dazed, only to be caught again by another lightning-quick combo. Down he went, and the ref stopped it. Marquez wasn't just the lightweight king, he was a 3-division champion now. Marquez KOs Jimrex Jaca, 9th round knockout. Jaca, a southpaw brawler from the Philippines, tried to pressure Marquez with high-volume aggression. But aggression without defense is a gift to a technician like Juan Manuel. The early rounds were tense, but Marquez calmly adjusted, weathered the storm, and began tagging Jaca with straight rights and hooks to the body. By the 9th, Jaca was gassed and wide open. Marquez lined up a perfect right hand that detonated on Jaca's chin, sending him crashing down. The ref waved it off without a count. Another southpaw, another casualty. Marquez was sharpening his blade for bigger names ahead. Marquez TKOs Terdsak Kokietgym, 7th round knockout. After reclaiming momentum post-Pacquiao and Chris John setbacks, Marquez faced Thailand's Terdsak Kokietgym for the interim WBO title. Terdsak came in aggressive and fearless, throwing wild lefts and trying to break Marquez's rhythm. But Juan Manuel wasn't rattled. He stayed in the pocket, timing right hands with machine-like precision. In round 7, it all came together. A perfectly timed right hook connected flush, and Terdsak hit the canvas hard. The ref didn't wait long. Marquez was champion again, and with that signature stoic intensity, he let the world know his second reign would be just as lethal. Marquez TKOs Marcos Licona, 9th round knockout. In his first defense of the IBF title, Marquez faced Marcos Licona, a tough and determined challenger. Early on, Licona showed heart, but he quickly found himself drowning in a sea of counters, uppercuts, and body shots. Marquez turned up the heat with every round, dissecting Licona with surgical precision. By the 9th, the challenger was a shell of himself, bloodied, battered, and standing only out of pride. Marquez unleashed a clinical assault that forced the referee to end it. A dominant defense that let the featherweight division know the belt was staying right where it belonged. Marquez TKOs Manuel Medina, 7th round knockout. After years of being avoided and overlooked, Juan Manuel Marquez finally got his shot at gold, taking on veteran Manuel Medina for the vacant IBF featherweight title. Medina, a 5-time world champion, brought grit, awkward angles, and plenty of experience. But Marquez brought something more: unrelenting focus and a deep toolbox of precision weaponry. He dictated the pace, controlled range, and punished Medina every time he opened up. In round 7, a series of crushing combinations forced the referee to step in, and just like that, Marquez was a world champion at last. It wasn't just a victory, it was vindication. Marquez TKOs Hector Javier Márquez, 10th round knockout. It was Márquez versus Márquez, but only one would survive. Hector Javier came in tough, but Juan Manuel brought the total package: defense, precision, and killer instinct. For 9 rounds, he controlled every exchange, landing at will while avoiding return fire. Then, in the 10th, the exclamation point. A fierce left-right combo sent Hector reeling, and a follow-up barrage sealed the TKO. Juan Manuel walked away clean, efficient, and deadly. Another win, another broken opponent, and one step closer to world title destiny. Márquez TKOs Johnny Walker, first round knockout. Johnny Walker never saw it coming. In less than 60 seconds, Márquez erased him from the ring with a highlight reel knockout. No feeling out process, no drawn out chess match. Márquez stepped in, calculated the distance, and landed a thunderous right that flattened Walker. Just like that, the crowd was on its feet. Some fighters need time to warm up. Márquez only needed a target and a window. It was a thunderclap reminder of the danger hiding behind that calm, composed face. Márquez TKOs Julio Gamboa, 7th round knockout. Julio Gamboa came in slick and confident, with awkward movement and flashy combinations, but Márquez wasn't there to admire footwork. He was there to destroy it. After a few adjustment rounds, Márquez began to time Gamboa with sharp counters and relentless bodywork. By round 7, the precision was surgical. A looping right hand stunned Gamboa, and Márquez unloaded a flurry that left the referee no option but to step in. This was the kind of measured violence that reminded the division that Márquez was coming, and he was coming to stay. Márquez TKOs Baby Lorona Jr., 2nd round knockout. Baby Lorona Jr. was tough, scrappy, and came forward with purpose. But against Márquez, that just made him a moving target. In round 1, Márquez dissected him with feints, sharp lead hooks, and constant angles. Then, midway through round 2, the trap snapped shut. Márquez landed a clean right cross that sent Lorona stumbling, then followed with a blistering combination that left the ref no choice but to halt the action. This wasn't just a win. It was Márquez sharpening his weapons before entering title contention. Márquez TKOs Sean Fletcher, 7th round knockout. Sean Fletcher had a solid chin and a lot of heart, but neither stood a chance against Márquez's methodical dissection. This fight showcased Márquez's patience and boxing brain. He worked behind a punishing jab, slipped inside with uppercuts, and never wasted a punch. By round 7, the accumulation had taken its toll. A brutal left hook to the liver folded Fletcher in half, and the referee quickly waved it off. It wasn't flashy. It was efficient. And it was a lesson in how elite technique trumps toughness every time. Márquez KOs Reynante, Jamili, 3rd round knockout. Reynante. Jamili brought Filipino pride into the ring, but pride alone couldn't match Márquez's timing and IQ. From the first bell, Márquez went to work, stiff jabs, surgical body shots, and relentless pressure without ever looking rushed. By round 3, Jamili's defenses were unraveling. Then came the kill shot. a thunderous straight right that snapped Jamili's head back and left him on the canvas, stunned. Márquez didn't celebrate wildly. He just turned, gloves raised, already focused on the next victim. Márquez KOs Wilfredo Vargas, second round knockout. Wilfredo Vargas came in tough, but against Márquez, toughness is never enough. From the opening bell, Márquez picked him apart with educated jabs and those signature short, sharp right hands. Then in round 2, he sprung the trap, a left hook upstairs followed by a straight right down the pipe that landed with authority. Vargas hit the deck, and the ref didn't need a second look. It was cold, clean, and calculated. Márquez wasn't just stopping opponents, he was solving them like puzzles, and finishing with an exclamation point. Márquez KOs José de Jesus Garcia, first round knockout. Don't blink. Against José de Jesus Garcia, Márquez needed barely 2 minutes to send a violent message. From the opening bell, he stalked Garcia with surgical precision. Then it came, a thunderous uppercut right that landed with chilling finality. Garcia hit the mat like he'd been unplugged. Just like that, it was over. For Márquez, it was another notch in the KO column. For Garcia, it was a reminder that one mistake is all Márquez needs. Márquez TKOs Francisco Arreola, third round knockout. It took just 3 rounds for Márquez to turn Francisco Arreola from contender to canvas. Arreola started fast, hoping to blitz the patient Mexican maestro. But Márquez stayed cool, analyzing angles, setting traps. In round 3, he timed a looping shot over Arreola's jab, sending him crashing down. It was a clean knockout, no drama, no need for follow-ups. Márquez wasn't just a puncher, he was a thinker, and Arreola gave him all the data he needed to pull the trigger. Márquez TKOs Enrique Júpiter, 8th round knockout. Against the gritty Enrique Júpiter, Márquez showed off his patience and poise under fire. Júpiter was awkward, aggressive, and unafraid, but that played right into Márquez's hands. As the rounds progressed, Márquez's right hand kept finding its mark, and Júpiter's punches became more desperate. By round 8, the accumulation of damage caught up. Márquez unleashed a pinpoint combo that left Júpiter defenseless, forcing the ref to step in. Another fight, another blueprint. Be aggressive against Márquez, and you'll pay in full. Márquez TKOs Juan Gerardo Cabrera, 4th round knockout. Cabrera came to fight, but Márquez came to finish. The first few rounds were all Juan Manuel, darting in and out, touching the body, walking Cabrera into traps. Márquez's signature combination punching began to land with frequency in round 3. Then in the 4th, a left hook, followed by a crushing right hand, put Cabrera down just as the bell sounded. He couldn't recover. The ref waved it off. It was precise, brutal, and beautiful, the kind of stoppage only Márquez could deliver. Márquez TKOs Luis Zamudio, 9th round knockout. Luis Zamudio came in determined to test the future champ, and for a while, he succeeded. But you don't win rounds against Juan Manuel Márquez without paying a price. Over the course of 9 rounds, Zamudio absorbed body shots that echoed through the arena and counters that made him hesitant. By the 9th, Márquez sensed blood. A violent flurry upstairs had Zamudio wobbling, and the referee had seen enough. Márquez walked away with another stoppage win, leaving behind another reminder. He doesn't just win, he breaks men. Márquez TKOs Vincent Howard, 12th round knockout. In one of the most underrated performances of his early career, Márquez showed what elite conditioning and patience look like. Against Vincent Howard, the rounds ticked by in a close, grinding contest. But Márquez was always a step ahead, slipping, jabbing, scoring cleanly. By the championship rounds, Howard was bleeding, breathing heavy, and hanging on. Then came round 12. Márquez, still sharp, surged forward with a perfectly timed flurry that left Howard defenseless. The ref jumped in. A stoppage win in the final round isn't just impressive. It's a sign of a fighter who gets stronger with time. Márquez TKOs Catalino Becerra, 7th round knockout. This one was a slow burn. Catalino Becerra showed up with toughness, grit, and no intention of folding. But Márquez doesn't pressure with volume. He pressures with intelligence. He broke Becerra down methodically, round by round. The jab was a laser. The body shots were thudding, and the counters surgical. By the 7th, Becerra was running on fumes. Márquez closed in, mixed levels, and forced a standing stoppage with a brutal combo to the head and body. He didn't just stop Becerra, he dissected her. Márquez KOs Rodrigo Valenzuela, 8th round knockout. In a packed house in Mexico City, Rodrigo Valenzuela brought fire and forward pressure. But against Márquez, that only made the punishment come faster. The early rounds were high-tempo, back-and-forth exchanges. Valenzuela tried to smother Márquez, but Juan Manuel stayed composed, digging to the body, pivoting off the ropes, and landing flush counters. By round 8, Valenzuela's face told the story. Then, in a blink, Márquez unleashed a right uppercut that sent him crashing down. The ref didn't even bother counting. Márquez had once again turned chaos into art. Márquez KOs Julio Gervasio, 8th round knockout. Julio Gervasio came into the ring a former world champion, but he left it another name on Juan Manuel Márquez's growing hit list. This fight had the intensity of a young lion testing himself against a grizzled veteran. Gervasio brought guile and experience, but Márquez brought timing, precision, and an engine that never stopped. Through 7 competitive rounds, Márquez built momentum. Then came round 8. One perfectly timed right hand erased the veteran's resistance. Gervasio hit the canvas hard, and the fight was over. Márquez wasn't just climbing the ranks, he was knocking down legacies on his way up. Márquez KOs Hector Ulises Chong, 4th round knockout. In 1996, Juan Manuel Márquez was already showing he wasn't just knocking people out, he was dismantling them. Against Hector Ulises Chong, Márquez gave a masterclass in controlled aggression. He didn't rush into danger. He stayed behind the jab, touched the body, and slowly tightened the noose. By round 4, the cracks in Chong's armor were clear. A crisp left hook to the jaw turned his legs to jelly, and he crumbled to the canvas. This wasn't a brawl, it was an execution. Márquez was showing signs of greatness, one calculated knockout at a time. Márquez TKOs Julian Wheeler, 10th round knockout. Julian Wheeler was no pushover. He was a serious American prospect with pedigree. But Márquez outclassed him over 9 hard-fought rounds, showcasing not just skill, but stamina. In round 10, Márquez closed the show with a furious combination, landing clean on the chin and forcing the stoppage. It was the kind of fight that separates contenders from champions in waiting. For Márquez, this wasn't just a win. It was proof he could go deep, dig in, and dominate down the stretch. Márquez TKOs Miguel Rodriguez, 1st round knockout. Another night, another fast finish. Against Miguel Rodriguez, Márquez barely broke a sweat. He stepped inside, probed with a few jabs, and then it came. A lightning-quick left hand that landed flush and ended the fight right there in the 1st round. The kind of knockout that boxing trainers dream about and young fighters study on repeat. For Márquez, it was just another lesson in how to make violence look like art.
He shifted his attack to the body right there because he had no punching room to go to the head. So rather than go badly, and went in immediately to finish his man. And he watch him go to the body there as well. Good intelligence went down, not too hard, but look at that right hand. That was a tremendous shot. That basically was the end of the
Márquez KOs Julio César Portillo, 6th round knockout. Julio César. Portillo had toughness, but against Márquez, toughness alone wasn't enough. Márquez boxed beautifully through 5 rounds, jabbing, feinting, and punishing Portillo with clean body shots. Then in the 6th, the moment came. A counter left over the top landed with surgical precision, and Portillo went down in a heap. It was a KO that felt inevitable, calculated, earned, and delivered like a craftsman at his peak. Márquez wasn't just winning, he was evolving with every fight. Márquez TKOs Israel Gonzalez, 4th round knockout. Israel. Gonzalez came in aggressive, but it was Juan Manuel Márquez who dictated everything. From the opening bell, Márquez slipped punches and countered with pinpoint precision. By round 4, the gap in class was undeniable. A clean series of right hands and body shots forced the referee to call it off. It wasn't just the power that impressed, it was the composure. the spacing, and the patience. Márquez was putting on clinics, and fans were starting to take notice. From his first knockout in a dusty Mexico City gym, to his thunderous final act against Manny Pacquiao on the world's grandest stage, JUAN Manuel Marquez built a legacy not with brute force, but with brain power, bravery, and devastating beauty. Every punch was placed with purpose. Every knockout was a lesson in patience and punishment. He wasn't just one of Mexico's finest, he was one of boxing's most cerebral destroyers. And as the dust settles on his Hall of Fame career, one thing is clear: legends may rise, but few ever finish like Márquez.